All right. Oh, you're looking live. It's sold out Giants Stadium with today the 15-0 New York Giants will be taking on the 0-15 Philadelphia Eagles. And welcome to the Gridiron. And thank you everybody or anybody at all for just spending some time with me here this evening. Got a couple things I want to go over. The Giants had a day off today. Got the blue-white game tomorrow night. And then next Thursday, preseason starts, baby, for the Giants anyway. So they kind of had a day off today, so it wasn't a whole well of a lot to talk about. I did kind of hear, I just saw something that maybe Magano might have possibly a career-ending, career-threatening, possibly neck injury, and he may not be coming back anymore. So I mean, I have to keep an eye on. That's nothing definite, but I did see something report that said he has a situation with his neck, so that's why he left the team. And whether he comes back or not, who knows? He was supposed to be the swing tackle. Now, Matt Peart, might open the door up for him, but he's coming back from surgery, so don't know exactly when he'll be ready either. So I have to keep an eye on that situation. But I mean, with Matt Gano, I mean, the thing is, it's if it comes to playing football or maybe getting paralyzed, I hope he makes the right decision for him and his family and all. I certainly wish him nothing but the best. But then in the Giants, they signed Nate Meadors off of waivers. When Dane Belton, obviously, broke his collarbone. Now, Dane Belton, hopefully, we're looking at maybe around 2 months or so. Could be a little bit more. I can't say it could be a little less, but I mean, we're looking maybe around 2 months, possibly a little more. So that leaves us, he might miss. Now I'll have to wait and see how it goes, how they're going to take care of his situation. I mean, will he be ready the second week of the season? Possibly. If he's going to be the third or fourth week, they might start him off on, the pup list or I'm not exactly sure how they're going to handle it. But I mean, if he's a quick healer and he's ready the second week, it'd be interesting to see if they keep him on the roster and maybe bite the bullet for a week or so, and have him keep him on the roster and all. So that'll be interesting. But with Nate Meadors, basically he's going to come in and provide some depth at safety. Now he was also with UCLA, with Darnay Holmes. So they were both in the same defensive backfield. All right. So I mean, there's familiarity there. All right. Now Nate Meadors, I mean, defensively, as far as in college, he didn't do too bad. Now let me pull I got PFF up here. NCAA 2018. He was at UCLA. He was there for 4 seasons, 2015, 16, 17, 18. Now he graded out senior season. His overall defensive grade at PFF was a 66.7. His run defense was an 80.7. His tackling was an 86.7. His coverage grade, actually, it's a little odd. I'm not sure, to be truthful, if he was injured or exactly what it was, but his senior season, his coverage grade was the worst out of all 4. He had a better coverage grade when he was a freshman than he did when he was a senior. Now, as a freshman, he was only in there for 88 coverage snaps, but it was 88, all right? He graded out at an 80.8, all right? That's not bad. His overall, he was in for 191 snaps when he was a freshman, all right, at UCLA. 191 snaps overall. He graded out at PFF as an 83.3. His sophomore season, 642 snaps. He graded out overall as a 72.1. All right. His junior season, it was the most ever. right? Snap wise, 901 snaps as a junior, 394. He was in pass coverage. Okay. He graded out overall 83.6. His run defense, 89.4, almost a 90. His tackling, 88.9. Pass rush, 71.6. So, I mean, they sent him in there on a few pass rushes, okay? But his coverage grade as a junior, 82.4. Now, something happened along, I don't know exactly what, but as I said, his senior season, his coverage grade went down, it was 62.8, went down 20 points. I said, I'm not exactly sure what happened, and he graded out overall as a 66.7. But for the most part, he had some very, very good grades, as far as according to PFF, all right, in college. I mean, very, very good. All right. Now, he was undrafted free agent, okay? The Minnesota Vikings, let's see, they drafted him. He only has stats for 1 year, 2019. All right, we got him here. They got him on defense in 2019, playing in 2 games. 11 total snaps for the Minnesota Vikings in 2019. I mean, small sample. So he graded out at a 45.4. But I mean, it's 11 snaps. But I mean, I don't, exactly sure what it is. His coverage grade wasn't it was a 45. So, but there's a reason why. Okay, he's been in the league 3 seasons, 2019, 2021, and he's only played 11 snaps, right? So don't expect the world from him. Okay, there's an article here. All right, from Fan Nation Giants Country. Okay, Giants claim defensive back Nate Meadors off of waivers. The Giants bolster their depth at safety in the wake of the Dane Belton injury. So this is just bolstering it just for the time being. I mean, might he make the team? Maybe. Is he going to make the final 53? I don't know. It's just they had to, they lost the safety, so they want to bring in somebody else, okay, who can play safety. Now, as I said, is he going to make it at the end, on the team and all? We'll have to wait and see. But here they got the Giants were awarded the contract of defensive back Nate Meadors off waivers. Meadors had previously been with the Cleveland Browns, Philadelphia Eagles, Minnesota Vikings, Jacksonville Jaguars, now the New York Giants. Giants since 2019, 19, 20, 21. So it's 4 years. He's been on 5 teams. There's a reason why, okay? Meadors is a safety who played 4 seasons at UCLA, where he recorded 149 tackles, 22 passes broken up. I mean, that's rather remarkable, okay? I mean, well, I guess not remarkable, but I mean, it's not too bad, okay? 3 interceptions, right, in 42 games. Okay, he started 30 starts, right? After going undrafted in 2019, Meadors signed with the Vikings, but was part of the final roster cuts that year. Minnesota signed him to the practice squad and later added him to the 53-man roster for a game. Well, I mean, I got made for a game, but he played in 2 games, according to PFF. Anyway, during the 2020 season, Meadors began the season with the Vikings before joining the Jaguars practice squad. The following season, he was on the practice squad of the Eagles, who at the time employed current assistant general manager Brandon Brown, and then later the Cleveland Browns. And later on, he was at the Cleveland Browns. So Meadors, 5'11", 194 pounds, had appeared in 3 NFL games and is credited with 2 tackles. His presence provides depth at safety. Yes, that's true. With the Giants rookie Dane Belton expected to miss the rest of the training camp while recovering from a broken collarbone. So exactly, what it's going to mean for the Giants, what it's going to mean for Meadors or whatever. Will he line up on the practice squad? Will he make the final 53? Who knows? But I mean, once again, there's a reason why this is his 4th NFL season. He's been on 5 teams. Okay. He's only played in what I saw from PFF 2 games. There's a reason why. All right. So don't expect the world from him. But anyway, Nate Meadors, welcome to the Giants, buddy. Okay. Then I saw another article here from Giants Country, Fan Nation. And they got 5 statistics the Giants must improve on defense. Now, I got to pretty much 4 of them. I think the last one, I forgot what it was, is that, the last statistic they had here, the Giants were really kind of in the upper echelon, I believe it was. So I'm not so sure if it's something they really need overall to improve upon, but there's other stats that they need to improve upon big time. Now, the thing is one of the things I heard them last year. The two, especially up the middle. Now, how is your defense in baseball strong? Strong center fielder, strong catcher, right? That catcher, the presence behind the plate, who can also throw runners out, who's try to steal. A good second baseman, a good shortstop, and hey, if you can get a Greg Maddux type person, meaning a Gold Glove pitcher on the mound, you got a strong, up the middle. That's a hell of a start. That's a hell of a start. Now, what happened to the Giants? Last year, Dalvin Tomlinson, went to Minnesota. Blake Martinez, the first series of the third game, he's gone. All right. That hurt the Giants up the middle. So that was one of the things that really, really hurt him. Now, Dalvin Tomlinson didn't take over games. However, he did provide enough quality play, that possibly it allowed maybe Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams kind of maybe do a little bit more of their own kind of thing. But we lost Dalvin. You unfortunately couldn't sign everybody. If we could have kept Leo Line and Dalvin Tomlinson, we would have had a nice defensive front, but it is what it is. But that kind of hurt the Giants defensively last year. All right. But let's see. The first thing they got here. All right. What do we got? There's a new coaching staff for the New York Giants. And with that comes with new expectations. Brian Daboll brought Don Wink Martindale to East Rutherford after a 4-year stint as a defensive coordinator, of Baltimore. All right, let's see what we got here. In this article, you will see me refer to the Ravens' injury-riddled 2021 multiple times. Yes, they were. Say they were injured. Yeah, that's an understatement of the year. They were. They had a lot of injuries, right? Because the Ravens performed worse than they previously had under Martindale. Keep in mind, though, that by most accounts, the injury-plagued defense still outperformed the 2021 Giants defense in these categories. Okay, pressure percentage, yeah. In 2021, despite having talented players like Dexter Lawrence, Williams, Azeez Ojulari, and Lorenzo Carter, and could you imagine if we just what was Lorenzo Carter? He signed for $3 million or something. Could you imagine what do you have? 5 sacks in the last 4 games of the season? I mean, I don't know where the hell he was at the first 13 games of the season, but Lorenzo Carter really took off really well. 5 sack, final 4 games. Could you imagine if he carried that over into the season? Could you imagine? I mean, man, if we had Azeez Ojulari healthy, Lorenzo Carter, Quincy Roche, Jihad Ward, Kayvon Thibodeau, Ellerson Smith. Man, we'd have man. But we're still very, very good there. We still got some good quality depth and all. But I'm saying it's just a shame if we came up with an extra $3 million or so. Maybe we could have kept Lorenzo Carter, and that would have really helped. But anyway, the Giants' pass rush produced a pressure percentage of just 20%. Yeah, so Giants ended with 134 pressures, the 6th worst in the league. Luckily for the Giants and their fans, Coach Martindale has come in from the Ravens, and there's one thing that the Ravens did well under Martindale is pressure the quarterback. Yes. 2021, the Ravens were decimated by injuries. Still, they had a pressure percentage of 23%, which was 24th in the league. Okay, but still better than the Giants, who finished 30th. Worth noting regarding the Ravens was that Odafe Oweh, the Ravens' leading pressure creator, Calais Campbell, and Justin Houston all missed time at different points in the season. All right, so when talking about Martindale's defensive scheme, pressure is often the biggest key. For 2 of Martindale's 4 years in Baltimore, his defense ranked in the top 4 in terms of pressure percentage. Top 4. Never did a Martindale defense drop below 23%. And with the roster with the Giants have, don't expect 2022 to be the first time a Martindale defense fails to hit a pressure percentage of 23%. Absolutely. So, absolutely, without question. All right. And let's see here. What do we got here? Let's see. Team defense. So I got some stats here. We got pressure percentage. All right. Now, let's see. Who was number pressure percentage? Here we go. The Bills, 30.8%. See? There you go, right? And who's our head coach and who's our that defensive coordinator, but who's our GM from? You got it, from Buffalo. Okay. Now, the Ravens, oh yeah, they were down at 23%, but as I said, they were decimated by injuries. But the Giants, okay, were 30th, 20.1%. Only the Colts and the Falcons were worse than the Giants. The Falcons were 16.7%. Colts 18.1. All right, so 20.1% with 30th in the league. Absolutely horrible. I mean, let's see the amount of pressures. The Giants had pressures 134. Okay. So it's 32, 31, 30, 29. The Giants were 27th with 134 pressures. All right. I mean, fell off big time. Sacks. Let's see. The Giants had 34. So, I mean, they were 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. The Giants were 24th with sacks. They were third with 34. All right. I mean, just horrible. I mean, it fell off from the year before, right? The Giants were tied with the Ravens, but the Ravens were, had better pressure percentage, and the Ravens had a lot of injuries. Okay. I mean, the Giants did too, but the Ravens had more, especially on defense. All right. So, I mean, that's one thing the Giants have to get better at, but I believe with Wink Martindale, okay, and especially when you got Kayvon Thibodeau, right? Azeez Ojulari in his second season. Ellison Smith looks like he's starting to be possibly the real deal. Got Blake Martinez coming back. Hopefully he stays healthy. Okay. I think the Giants will be in certainly better position. I would be shocked. I mean, if those stats, like the pressure percentage, the amount of sacks, maybe the quarterback hits and all of that, don't go up. I mean, I'd be shocked, especially with the way Wink brings his pressure. So I think I feel very comfortable without question that'll certainly get better. Okay. Now the next thing, score percentage. Yeah, the Giants were horrible with this. It doesn't take a genius to know the easiest way to win a football game is to score more points than your opponent. Yeah, okay. For a defensive point of view, it's less focused on scoring than your opponent and more focused on making your opponent score less than you. All right. In 2021, the Giants failed to do that often. 41, 2 out of every 5 drives. Percentage of the Giants' defensive drives ended with their opponents putting points on the board. Good for the 9th worst rate in the NFL. Now, the thing that just freaking killed me, and we're going to go over this game by game, is how many times the opponent scored in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Absolutely. And the Giants didn't score at all. Absolutely unbelievable. 41% of the time. Now, let me see if I can... I know I got it here somewhere. Passing defense. No, that's not it. Rushing defense. Nope, that's not it. Third down conversions. Okay, well, it's up here somewhere. Sacks. Oh, I must have missed it somewhere, but I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, their percentage was just unbelievably horrible. Absolutely unbelievably horrible. Let's see. So we're going to go over this game by game here. All right. Now, the New York Giants. Let's see. Here we go. First game of the season is where it all started right here. First game of the season. The Giants scored with 8.5 minutes, about 9 minutes to go. They went up 7-3. Broncos got the ball with 8 seconds to go in the first half. Tim Patrick, 2-yard pass from Teddy Bridgewater. They scored 7 points. The next game. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Absolutely unfreaking believable. 4 minutes to go in the first half. Matt Gano kicked a 23-yard field goal. 21 seconds to go in the first half. J.D. McKissick, 2-yard rush. 7 points for the Washington football team. Then we get the Atlanta Falcons game here. I'm not sure, but I mean, let's see. 1:33 to go. They scored on a 4-yard touchdown pass from Matt Ryan. 3 games, first 3 games, touchdowns. Final 2 minutes of the first half. And once again, Giants don't score. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. Saints. Juwan Johnson with 23 seconds to go in the second quarter. 15-yard pass from Jameis Winston. 4 games, 4 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes of the first half. I can't believe it. And we can't score. It's the Cowboys. Game 5. 36 seconds to go. Amari Cooper, 24-yard touchdown pass from Dak Prescott. Once again, the Giants don't score in the final 2 minutes. 5 games, 5 touchdowns, final 2 minutes of the first half. Let's go to game 6. Now, somewhere along the line, it does stop. But, I mean, game 6. 33 seconds to go in the first half. Darrell Henderson, 25-yard pass from Matthew Stafford. So that would be 6 games, 6 touchdowns. Final 2 minutes of the first half. Let's go to game 7. Okay, well, this one, let's see. Okay, now, they beat the Panthers. All right, the Panthers scored first, and they never scored again. They scored in the first quarter, they never scored. It was 25-3. But once again, the Giants did not score in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Next game. Now we're halfway through the Chiefs. What do we got with the Chiefs here? Okay, nothing. Nobody scored in the final 2 minutes. All right. Next game, the Raiders. The Raiders. 6 seconds left. Daniel Carlson kicks a field goal. Right? Giants don't score in the final 2 minutes. Once again. 10th game of the season against the Bucs. Nobody scored in the final 2 minutes. Neither team. Game 11 against the Eagles. I don't know if anybody. Nobody scored in the second quarter period. It was 3-0 at halftime. Whew, what a barn burner that one was, huh? Then we got the Dolphins. I think somebody scored here. 26 seconds left. Mac Hollins, 5-yard pass from Tua. Tagovailoa. Another touchdown. Given up in the final 2 minutes of the second quarter. And once again, the Giants don't score. Game 13 against the Chargers. Chargers scored 7,000 points. I'm sure they had a score. Yep, 17 seconds to go. Jalen Guyton, 59-yard pass from Justin Herbert. Yep, there you go. Another touchdown. Giants don't score in the final 2 minutes. Game 14 against the Cowboys, 21-6. As time ran out. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my bad. Please forgive me. Cowboys scored 2 times in the final 2 minutes. 1:39 to go. Greg Zuerlein kicks a 42-yard field goal. Then the Giants got the ball, of course. Of course, they couldn't do anything with it. Kicked it back to the Cowboys. The Cowboys moved it down to about the 10-yard line, and Greg Zuerlein kicks a 27-yard field goal as time runs out in the second quarter. Once again, the Giants don't score. Absolutely freaking pathetic. Game 15 against the Eagles. Eagles 7,000, the Giants 10. Let's see here. 1:57, Jake Elliott, 22-yard field goal for the Eagles. Once again, the Giants do not score in the final 2 minutes. Unbelievable. Game 16, the Bears. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. The Bears had the trifecta. The Bears won it. Bears scored 3 times in the final 2 minutes of the first half. 1 minute and 1 second to go, they kicked a field goal. 9 seconds later, the Bears got a safety, and then as clock ran out, Santos kicked a 44-yard field goal for him. So they scored 3 times in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Unbelievable. And then the final game of the season, Washington football team. Let's see. As the time ran out in the second half, they kicked a 43-yard field goal. The Giants did not score 1 point in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Unbelievable. Absolutely unfreaking believable. They could not stop the other team in the final 2 minutes of the first half. Unbelievable. So let's see. Despite being decimated by injury, the Martindale-led Ravens defense had the 8th best rate with a score percentage of 34.2. So that's very promising. Very promising compared to the Giants' 41.3. So, if obviously a lot of things got to get better, but I mean, the scoring is obviously has got to be one of them, but I mean, especially the scoring in the final 2 minutes. Well, Patrick Graham is gone. His bend but don't break defense, is gone and all that and everything. So, well, hopefully we'll see some positive changes. All right. The third down conversion percentage. It isn't just impressive, but beautiful when a defense can consistently get off the field on third downs. Absolutely. In 2021, the Giants were a middle of the pack team in preventing the teams. There was 17 with a third down conversion percentage of 39.8. Okay. The Ravens were one of the most injury-bitten teams in 2021, but they still maintained a top 3 third down conversion percentage of 34.8. 34.8. So let me see here. Let me see if I can find this stuff here. Yards per game. Third down conversion. Yep. Ravens. The Bills, okay, were 30.8%. Ravens, the Cowboys were 34.1 and 34.8%. The Ravens. Third down, 34.8. The Giants, yep. They were middle of the pack, 39.8. Okay. So, I mean, right. It just goes to show you sometimes it's a little, even as good as the Chargers were dead last. The Chargers, 49.5% of the time they gave up third down conversion. Basically 50% of the time they gave up a third down conversion, except when they played the Giants, of course. But other than that, so it just goes to show you, right? But the Giants certainly could obviously, do better than what they're doing. And, hopefully with Mike Martindale, all right, they'll get better at that. All right. Let's see here. The Giants' placement isn't awful. After all, the reigning Super Bowl champions, Rams, and runner-up Bengals were both worse in this area than the Giants. So, but it does help. There's nothing more demoralizing than getting third down, then the other team gets a first down. Then they get to third down again, the other team gets a first down. The third down, they just walk down the field, converting third down after third down. It just gets worse and worse. Now, here we go. This is a rushing yards allowed per attempt and per game. Now, this is where Blake Martinez and Dalvin Tomlinson, those two guys being missing on the defense up the middle really hurt the Giants quite a bit. How did the Ravens dominate first down? Simple. Have a tremendous run defense. Despite the NFL becoming more passing league, NFL teams still like to run the ball on early downs. Now, in one of the meetings that Wink Martindale had, in the defensive meetings he had, one of the things he had written up on the board was you have to stop the run. Okay. Obviously, he said, it's a pass-happy league, but you can't give a team, your opponent, you can't give them both. You have to take something away. You have to take the run away. You can't allow them to run the football. Right. He said that's huge. Right. Obviously, you spend a lot of time worrying, maybe more about the run than about the pass. They're going to have more success, obviously, passing the ball against your defense. But if you can take the run away, he said, that's absolutely huge. He said, now can you take, he said, you have to take the run away. There's no question about that. So look for the Giants to get better, especially if we can get Blake Martinez to stay healthy all year. Look for, the Giants obviously to do a better job. All right. At stopping the run. The Giants held opponents to under the league average of rushing yards per game, which was 115.2. That's the average, just 7 times in 20, because teams knew when they would be able to run the ball against the Giants. Teams ran for 200 rushing yards 3 times against the Giants, and the Giants gave up an average of 6.1, 6.3, and 5.2 yards per carry in those games. Just unbelievable. The Martindale-led Ravens allowed only the Colts and Vikings to rush for higher than the league average. Just 2 teams ran for more than 115 yards against the Ravens last year. So very impressive. All right. This wasn't just about the Ravens having a better defensive roster, because the argument could be made that the Giants had the better players in the defensive front 7, which is true. That was game planning and coaching to effectively stop the run. Yep. All right, then we got the last one here, okay, is passer rating allowed. Now, as I said, this one here wasn't, I mean, the Giants were very in the kind of in the middle, all right, of the road. However, Wink Martindale's Ravens defense has done wasn't so much last year because they were decimated by injuries, but his other 3 years, they did very, very good, as I'm going to read here. Passer rating allowed. I know. Passer rating is not the be-all, end-all of pass defense evaluation, but it is perhaps one of the best ways to evaluate how successful a defense was, all right, at keeping quarterbacks from being efficient. Passer rating allowed is one of the outliers where the Giants outperformed the Ravens in 2021. Once again, however, the Ravens secondary was so injury-riddled that even the practice squad players they were forced to activate ended up on the injured reserve. You know, I mean, you look at the Giants. I mean, you know, Logan Ryan. I mean, we lost Jabrill Peppers, but he was a liability in coverage. But we got Logan Ryan. We had Xavier McKinney. You had Adoree Jackson. You had Bradbury. You know, Darnay Holmes in there. You know, I had quite a few guys that were relatively healthy all year long. All right. Giants allowed a passer rating of 89 in 2021, barely better than the league average. Excluding 2021, that would have been the worst passer rating allowed by a Wink Martindale defense, which allowed passer rating. Wink Martindale defense allowed a passer rating of 80.6 in 2018, 77.5 in 2019, and 87.2 in 2020. Okay. It may be a cop out to excuse the Ravens' hard pass defense in 2021 due to injuries, but this was possibly the most injured a secondary has ever been. With the current roster, Giants fans could see the passing defense improve somewhere between 2018, 2020 Martindale defense. So, I mean, now, as I said, his ratings from there were 77 to 87. So, you know, without question, I really think the Giants, their passer rating could certainly go down. I mean, as I said, I mean, here, I find it here somewhere. Let's see, passing defense, passer rating. Yeah, I mean, the Giants were 12th, 89. Okay, so, right? I mean, and I said the Ravens were way down. The Ravens were number 27th at 99.4. But, I mean, they had so many injuries. But, I mean, you know, all in all, the Giants weren't bad. Number one team, ding, 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 Buffalo. Okay, 65.3 quarterback passing, 65.3. Maybe, you know, maybe we got a little bit of maybe some Dable and some Shane, maybe brought over some ideas or something. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong, the Bills have very good secondary, and their two safeties are really good. They played phenomenal last year. Okay. The Patriots were 73.3. The Cowboys were 76.6. Okay. So the Giants weren't bad, 89.0. Didn't give up a ton of real long plays, but they gave up a lot of completions. You know, they gave up like 75% completion rate, but as the season wore on, they got a little bit better and a little bit better. But I mean, overall, 89 isn't bad. But I mean, if Wink Martindale comes in, all right, and can, you know, make that 80, turn that 89 into a lower 80s, or maybe even in the 70s, and I'm all for that. And a lot of that, you know, comes with pressure, forcing the quarterback to make, you know, fast throws, you know, making quick decisions, hopefully some wrong decisions, pressure, batting the ball down, hitting the quarterback, causing some fumbles, whatever it's got to be. But look for Wink Martindale, obviously, all right, to improve the Giants in hopefully every statistical category that the Giants had on defense last year, as long as we can stay healthy. And so far, you know, knock on wood, the Giants have been relatively healthy. Well, it's about 30 minutes in, guys. Thanks for anybody out there listening. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And I'll be back here again tomorrow night. All right. See you soon, guys. You guys stay safe. Take care. I'm going to see you soon.